Welcome to this evening's meeting of the Muskogee Municipal Authority. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bob Coburn.
Here.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Here.
Marlon Coleman. Janie Boydston.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Patrick Kale.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
We are accounted for. Regular agenda item number 1.
Consider approval of MMA minutes of June 13th, 2016.
Is there addition or corrections to the minutes? If not, we would consider a motion for the approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 2.
Consider approval of MMA claims for the month ending June 2016.
Mr. Tucker.
Mr. Chair, members of the authority, this is our standard transfer of claims that is used to pay debt service is left in MMA. Any additional minus the 5% that was held over has been transferred to the city's general fund. Happy to answer any questions.
Move for approval.
Got a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comment or discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, and that motion carries, and that concludes our agenda for the Muskogee Municipal Authority. We'll now go to our agenda for the Muskogee City Council. And invocation this evening will be by Deputy Mayor James Gully. Then join us for the flag salute.
Rise, please.
Pray with me, Father. Father, thank you for this day. We ask you for your continued guidance. Father, we ask you to continue to build our community relationships with our police department and our local citizens. We're saddened by the shootings that have recently happened, Father. Help us and our police officers and our citizens reconcile and talk out our differences, Father. We just thank you for this day. I ask all your blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Join us in the flag salute. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Bob Coburn.
Here.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Present.
Marlon Coleman. Janie Boydston.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Patrick Kale.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
Move that we excuse Councilman Coleman.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to excuse Councilman Coleman. Any comment or discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes. And that motion passes. We have a presentation this evening. Is Randy Watson here? I wondered if that was you.
There you go.
Let me just meet you right down there at that microphone. We have a proclamation this evening, whereas the community, family, and play a critical role in the children's school success from birth through the career and college readiness, and whereas the education success of Muskogee's children is essential for the future of the city, and whereas summer reading loss year after year accumulates by the 5th grade, the cumulative years of summer reading loss can leave students almost 3 years behind their peers. And whereas students who read 4 to 6 books a month during the summer months are significantly less likely to experience academic loss than students who don't read. And whereas access to books is crucial to a child's success, Muskogee Public Schools, in partnership with Muskogee Creek Nation, provides students with access to MyOn, providing them with 24-hour access to 5,000 digitally enhanced books. And whereas it is, it is not only important to provide access to books during the summer to prevent summer reading loss, but provide books that are based on students' reading and interest levels. And whereas the City of Muskogee works with key community partners, Muskogee Creek Nation Literacy Council and MyOn, to raise awareness of the importance of literacy, especially during the summer, to help prevent summer reading loss. Therefore, Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Bob Coburn of Muskogee, Oklahoma, hereby support and proclaim the summer of 2016. You get the whole summer. It's Summer of Reading in the City of Muskogee. And we'd like to present that plaque to you. Would you like to make a comment?
Can we get one picture with the?
We sure can. Good.
Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. It does take a community to help our kids. Muskogee Public School does an awesome job at helping our kids with literacy, and Muskogee Creek Nation Literacy Program is very proud to partnership with Muskogee Public Schools as well as the City of Muskogee, and we really appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great job.
Now consider the minutes of the June 27th meeting and the special call meeting of July the 5th. Is there additions or corrections to those minutes?
Move for approval.
Get a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. The consent agenda will now be considered. That's items 1 through 5. Is there anything anyone would like to move to regular agenda? If not, we will consider a motion regarding the consent agenda.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Regular agenda item number 6.
Discuss and take action to recognize former Mayor Orville Eaton for his contribution in securing the train caboose housed at the Oklahoma Music Hall of Fame.
Councilman Hall.
This agenda item was brought to me by ex-councilman Jim Ritchie, and it pertains to minutes from May 14, 2008, where ex-mayor Orville Eaton and the what is it, the Memorial Park?
War Memorial.
War Memorial Park Board chose to move the caboose from the War Memorial over to the Music Hall of Fame. And what I understand is that Mr. Eaton had a big part to play with in moving this caboose. And at this time, they were going to put a plaque on there thanking him for his services and for his help in moving the caboose over there in 2008, and it never happened. So ex-councilman Ritchie asked me to put it on the agenda item and see if we could get that rectified a few years later, and that's why I've got it on here.
So you're recommending that a plaque be placed on the property somewhere?
Yes, and thanking Mayor Eaton, Mr. Muskogee, for what he did in his part to move it over there.
And does it also need to recognize the War Memorial Park Board at the same time?
I would say so, because we all know, being on city council, that not one of us play a single part in this. We all have to be a group to get something done here. So I would often recognize those individuals as well.
We need to make one.
We will need to make a motion in that regard, because evidently there was not a prior motion that would cover that.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we recognize Mayor Orville Eaton and the War Memorial Board in their part for moving the caboose over with their names, I guess.
I'll second it.
Direct staff.
Hang on. And direct staff to do
To get her done.
To
Get it done.
To
There you go.
To get the
Second.
plaque and things like that.
Hey, you know what? I'm working on this. So, yes, let's get it done.
Seconded by Jim Ritchie, right?
There you go. That still works.
It's just been a long time coming. It needs to be done.
All right. Did we have a second to that motion?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes. Item number 7, please.
Discuss and take action on a report from interim city manager on cost of security for City Hall.
Mr. Tucker.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. As you all may remember, on June 21st, Councilor Van put this item on, City Hall Security asked that this item be placed on the agenda. We discussed it. One of the things that I was directed to do was to go back and get quotes on the cost for having a security guard or some security present in City Hall. So with the support of Deputy Chief Farmer, he was able to help me to obtain 3 different quotes, and I have included those in your packets. 2 quotes were obtained from F. Wiley Investigations, a local company here in Muskogee. One quote was for armed security at $45,000 per year, and the cost for unarmed was $40,000 per year. Additionally, we received 2 quotes from G4S Security in Tulsa. The cost for armed was $58,864, and that's approximate based upon the hours of need. And the unarmed cost was $52,728. Additionally, I'd asked Deputy Chief Farmer to put together a cost estimate for the placement of a Muskogee police officer with benefits and roll-ups and such, and that cost was $61,787.07. As I'll remind everyone, this is not something that we had budgeted in this year's, we had placed in this year's budget. Instead, what I had requested to do was, and I brought this up at the retreat, to relocate one of our information desks out in the front of City Hall. Now, this was, of course, not to provide security, but rather was to improve customer relations with the city. A lot of times you'll have somebody coming into City Hall and not really know where to go. And we have a marquee up there, but if you don't happen to see it because it's not directly in the line of sight, sometimes it's difficult for someone to know where they are. So one of the things we thought we'd do is relocate the information desk out in the front lobby. So that would serve 2 reasons. One would be able to be more customer friendly, to show people where city offices are if they need to come in and meet with one of the officials here. Secondly, to kind of have the eyes and ears of the city. Somebody out front would know who's in the building, who's not. When we close at 5 o'clock, would have a better idea of whether somebody's stuck in the bathroom or whether somebody's still on the 3rd floor. It wasn't necessarily to provide for security in this budget year. But as you may remember in the retreat, I discussed a second year with phase 2 of that, which would look at the additional cost and potentially budgeting for creating some type of security situation where it's either a sign-in situation or where we have a controlled access to areas outside of the general corridor within the front of the City Hall. So we've moved forward to go ahead and move that information desk out in the front lobby. Many of you will see some of the furnishings that's down there in the entryway between the 2 doors. We're still working on relocating some of the wiring to get electrical access out there, but that should be done this week. And so I was asked to provide the quotes. I'm providing them. We will do whatever is the will of council. If we do decide to fund this for an armed or unarmed security guard, we will have to find some additional funds in the budget. Our treasurer was on vacation last week, so I was not able to meet with her to determine where these funds will come from. It's very likely that it'll come from a variety of different places if this is something council wants to do. And so Councilor Van had asked that this item be placed on the agenda. I had discussed with him the additional costs. Others have told me that there are cheaper quotes out there. And so if this is something we want to look at now, then I would suggest we go and see what we can get some additional quotes. If this is something that we want to hold off and look at the budget mid-year to see if there are other avenues available, or if this is something that we want to delay till next year to allow phase 1 of our customer service plan to come to fruition and see how that works. So it's really all up to the council. I know Councilor Van felt very strongly about it, and I do tend to agree that security for our employees is of paramount importance. However, we have to balance that with funding opportunities and availability. And so my recommendation was, of course, to relocate the information desk out there, make a determination if there is a future need for other kinds of more strict controls within the office. So with that, I'll turn it over for discussion. And Councilor Van, I assume you have some comments.
Yes. First of all, I'd like to ask for a motion to recognize the audience to see what they think before we go into discussion. The public, how's that proper?
You'd like to what?
Recognize the people in the audience to see if anyone out there has anything to say.
Like to
Nobody
suspend the
signed
rules.
up to speak to the item.
But you can also, I know nobody signed up to speak to the item, but you also can, as a council, we can recommend. What
You
was
would
that?
need to make a motion to suspend the rules.
Okay, I need to make a motion to suspend the rules so we can see what someone in the audience, if they have anything to say on this issue, before I start discussing it.
Okay?
I
That would be
second
in
it.
the form of a motion.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I second it.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston. Yes. Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. So we have suspended the rules. Is there anybody in the audience group that would like to speak to this issue?
Glenn Gardner.
I'm sorry? That looks like Cedric Johnson.
Cedric.
Cedric, come on to the microphone. Tell us your name and your address.
Glenn to me.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Hall, I don't know why you get me mixed up with Glenn Gardner. I'm better looking than him.
Your golf game's not that good, though.
Cedric, give us your name and your address, please.
Cedric Johnson, 316 North 27th Street, Muskogee, Oklahoma. And I would like to address this issue, and I think this is something that is needed in light of the recent events. This is something that we very, very much need, and we need to protect our employees. And there was some events that happened today that lends credence to this issue. I don't know how Councilman Van came up with this idea, but I think it's one of the best ideas that he's had in a long time. And I fully want to support this idea. We need to protect our people, and we need to just move forward with that. That's just that simple. Let's do it.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for your input. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this item? Yes, sir. Again, give us your name, if you would, please, and your street address.
Floyd Wiley, 2 Golf Place here in Muskogee.
Thank you.
This was brought to my attention as well. As Mr. Johnson stated, the recent activities that have been taking place across the states, I think it's very imperative, that this security for the Civic Center, the City Hall here, actually be put into place, because you are a very important, part of the city. There's no reason in the world that somebody could just walk in here and do what they've done in a lot of these other locations. Actually, I know a few of you all here, and to simply state, a picture's worth 1,000 words. I've been doing security for quite a while. I am F. Wiley Investigations, and some of y'all know I am a certified private investigator and security officer. And, making that statement, anybody out here could walk in here with a gun at any time, and there would be a problem. Stating that, once again, a picture is worth 1,000 words. This is what I have. This is what I carry all the time. It couldn't be just me logically. It could be somebody illogical in here right now. So, for the safety and security of everybody here, this might be something you may not want to put off until later. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else choose to address this subject?
Jim Ritchie. I live at 4410 Denison, Muskogee, Oklahoma. Y'all know I served on the council for a few years myself, and I brought this up years ago. One of my main concerns was the fact that anybody can walk in City Hall And we know that the city clerk's office is right there, and at the time, they were involved in animal control. A lot of people get upset at city employees for various reasons, whether it's a cat issue, dog, trash, street, sewer, water, whatever. I feel strongly about a security in the building at all times for that reason, because I do think that not only during the city council meetings, but in the everyday life going on. And it was my opinion even back then that I would hate for something to happen and then for council decide to actually act. I believe in preventative stuff, so I'm in favor of security. I was back then in 2007, 2008, when things were going on back then. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Van, back to you.
Can I do a demonstration right quick, Mayor? Can I do a demonstration? Yeah, before I speak.
Yeah, I guess you can. It's part of your speaking, I said.
Back a long time ago when I used to be at that mic, I used to do like a lot of demonstrations and prompts, and I'm just going to do this a slight prompt for you. Now this is me. I'm coming through this door right here. Chief Cotton normally is not back here. The rest of the police officers are right here. I'm coming here. I got an automatic weapon, and I've already come from downstairs because nobody's down there watching us up here. So I'm just gonna come in here and zzz, zzz, zzz. I'm gonna shoot everybody on this side. I'm gonna shoot all these people up here. Only man I can't mess with because he's got a gun and I didn't know it is him. Then I'm gonna come up there and I'm gonna shoot all y'all. And during this time, we got a problem because we got families involved. Our families wouldn't want to see us not come home tonight. So that's just a little slight demonstration I wanted to show you before I do my presentation. At Public Works, I discussed that I went to Fayetteville, North Carolina. When I walked in Fayetteville, North Carolina, the first thing I seen was a security guard. Their chambers sits right there in front. When you walk through the door, here's City Council chambers right there. It's not like tonight, downstairs, it's nobody at those doors. Somebody could come up there with some automatic weapons and kill us all. Another thing gets me is also somebody can come through that first floor with a bomb, go all the way, where we go out with the police officers. Where we come in, employees come in to tag themselves in through that door. They can set a bomb right there and go out that door. Also on the second floor coming up here. Come up here and put a bomb. We all gone. I have a problem with that. This week I talked to some of the employees in this building, and it amazed me what they thought about, they are for this. They really are, because that's messing with our lives. Also, I went over to code enforcement today. Well, code enforcement is located at now, right, if it's permanently where to get the building permits. I walked over there. I could go back there, open the door, and I did it as a joke. I opened the door, and then there's the fire department. You open the door back there. None of those doors are locked. Those people's lives are also in jeopardy. Even where we go to pay, where you go over there to the code enforcement where they're located at now. But I think this money situation, nothing is more important than our life. I know it might be hard to find the money, but one thing, we can find things up here when we want to. And I'd hate to see our employees be setting ducks, and us as councilmen up here be setting ducks. Because like I say, in this day and time, this thing is serious. This ain't no joke. And I'm pretty sure here in Muskogee, Oklahoma, we got probably terrorists. People, you don't know what people's thinking on their minds. When they, just like Mr. Richard was saying, Councilman Richard was saying, back when he was a councilman, it wasn't as bad, but today it is. But people got this stuff on their mind. They can come in here and you get mad at you, and people do get mad at the people at the water department. They get mad at code enforcement because they come out putting these signs in the yard. I'm telling you, it's dangerous. They could kill us all up here. And I really just, even, I tell you what, when I got on the airplane, I was so glad TSA was there. Because I knew when I held my hands up and go with that radar and all my bags, no matter how I had my bags packed, how neat they were in that suitcase, and I got my suitcases back. They were all crumpled up. At least I knew when I was going across that air that I was safe. That was the best thing that they could come up with, was TSA. It may be, we get tired of it and have to take our shoes off and all that, but just for our safety. And that's all we're trying to do up here tonight, is just like this thing, okay, it cost us, $45,000 was the lowest quote. We pay OML, which I disagree with. We pay them people $30,000. That's in this year's budget. I've been to the OML meetings. I don't see what OML does for the city of Muskogee. That $30,000 could go for our safety, for our employees, for us sitting up here. So I disagree with paying OML $30,000 when that money could go somewhere else, like for something like this more important. But also, down in the lobby where they got marked off, the lady's gonna sit down there. I know that lady personally. She's a real nice lady, but she ain't packing. Somebody could come in there and wipe her out. And plus another thing is, it's no heating down there. It's no air conditioning down there for her, which would be the same thing with a security guard. But we need something in that lobby for its air and heat, because that door is steady opening back and forth. So when I went to Fayetteville, North Carolina, that opened my eyes. It really did, because everything there is monitored, all the doors, everything. So I just wish we'd do something and come up with the money somehow so we can keep ourselves safe, plus our employees. I'm telling you, I'm for the employees and myself, I'm begging this council, let's do something. We can put these nice, pretty signs directing outside here, outside the door. When we go outside, we look at these pretty signs that y'all done put up and everything. We put up, directing the places, people to places. But hey, it's nothing like safety, I'm telling you. That's all I have to say. So I'm done, but I just hope y'all take in mind that when we sitting up here right now, Chief Cotton's right there at the door, but that door downstairs is wide open. It could be a bomb going off right now.
Mayor, can I make a comment?
You sure can, sir.
One, safety is important, all aspects of safety. We can take any aspect of safety, and if we're talking about tornado safety and the tornado hit here, we would all be thinking about tornado shelters. If we thought about fire safety, we would want a sprinkler system in here. Any aspect of safety, we can't focus in on any one criteria. Any aspect, we have to think of the entire group. One, we need a secondary exit out of here. We only got one. We can't think of any one aspect and focus in on that. When we think of just City Hall, we got to think about all our employees in the city. We've got all these satellite offices, so we don't want to target in on one. I think we've making a good move by looking here, taking the first step, but we want to look at the entire safety of the city of Muskogee, not focus in on one thing and doing it in one move. We want to look, as we looked at a budget, and put aside a budget. I knew this would happen when we come back and go, oh, we can always find the money. Well, we got a solid budget. We can't just find the money every time we come up with an idea. We got to look at the overall safety and how can we improve it in the entire city of Muskogee.
Other comments or questions?
I've got a question. Mr. Tucker, on the person that is going to be the meet and greet person, do they have secondary responsibilities as well?
Answering the telephone and processing mail.
So would answering the telephone be literally the person that directs the call to this department or that department or that department?
Yes.
If we did have a city police officer at that position, would the expectations be that they do some secondary?
No.
So they wouldn't transfer phone calls or
No, because that's a job that we already have one employee that's assigned to fill, and so we wouldn't be able to take away those duties from her.
Okay.
Unless the council unless we wanted to eliminate the position, but I wouldn't.
It may not be pragmatic.
Yes.
Okay, I got you. No, pragmatic.
It would operate more akin to what you see at the courthouse.
Okay.
So is there a possibility that we could actually move one of our officers from the police station over into the city clerk's office. You know, if we put someone in the front to answer the phone, that should free up a desk. And I just wonder if there's a police officer that we could have stationed there, you know, doing filling out reports or whatever on a full-time basis.
My only problem with that is that we're already shorthanded. We're having issues enough to getting, I mean, it's a battle just to keep the two out at Hilldale. And they're paying half the salaries out there. And we were talking about earlier about possibly bringing them back because we can't meet the criteria of a number of officers we have on the street now to protect our citizens as a whole. I mean, they're doing a great job, and we're doing, what, 6 down? 5 or 6 officers down still? Are we still up? Chief?
But the short answer, Deputy Mayor, is that we don't have any officers that are just assigned to desk duty.
Okay, and that was my question.
Yeah.
Right now, we have 13 people in training. We have 6 that just graduated from the academy, the state academy, on July the 1st. They've still got another 18 to 20 weeks to go. We've got 6 that started that previous Thursday. So they've got 3 months to do at the state academy, and then they have another about 20 weeks to do once they get back. So we've got 2 that are coming out in August, and we're trying to staff and build our police community relations division. And when you talk about, I mean, we did have 2 over, we're down to 1 over, and probably by the end of summer, we'll be anywhere from maybe 2 to 3 people short of what we need. So it's like Councilman Hall was saying, it's a constant battle to fill that, and I would not recommend taking a police officer just for that unless we had the staffing ability.
Sure.
And that's critical.
I just didn't know if we had a police officer that
Sure,
was
and
at
I
the desk
understand
all-
that, but
all the time.
it would be
And if we did, that'd
difficult.
make a lot of sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that would be a high, knowing police officers, like I know a few of them, that would be a high turnover job because they'd be like, I'm not going here. I got to go find me another job because I'm not sitting at this desk. Because police officers, type A personality, don't want to sit behind a desk most usually. So,
That's fine.
and I'm sitting here listening, and Ivory, I've got a few things that I want you to go through with me. When we do our training at the school, I want you to come out and be my bad guy. I've got some Krog Magal classes coming up, and I've got some active shooter schools coming up for my officers. I'll let you be my bad guy. Your pew-pewing was kind of interesting. I understand the necessity that we're looking at of having a safe building and a safe place for our employees to work. And it's sad that we're looking, anytime something like this comes up, that we look at the dollar amount because we have to fund these things. And it's not funded. But when I was sitting here listening to the amounts that was coming across as $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, guys, I run a campus police department and I have security officers. That's kind of high. That's some high prices. We could probably insource our own security guard and pay half of that. I mean, an average security officer doesn't get paid $40,000 a year, and even with benefits. So, I mean, we need to look into this more. I would like to maybe table it or something until we can figure out. I'm not saying get rid of it because I think it's something that needs to come back up. But I'm saying that we actually need to look at the financial side of this and get the best deal for us and the best security for our employees here. Those prices were a little steep, even as just putting a security guard down there. And I've been doing this job for 22 years, and that's a little steep. $40,000 for a guy to be there, that's steep.
I think what I'd rather see is a plan put together by somebody where we used a portion of money up front. It might be a goodly sum, but where we had badge key and entry or something, employee only areas, key and entry, and maybe even the greeter downstairs would press a button or allow key entry for the And so we may be able to find at some point reasonable security presence and really beef up and secure the employees through badge entry doors and doors that don't, and come to a happy median all the way around and be much, much, much more secure. And if we could look into somebody that would give us a plan, here's what you need to do: secure facility, badge entry, employee access only to some areas where employee access only is needed, where nobody can run rampant. I'm sure they could even do something up here on particular evenings or with the backup of a security man. But that might be the most pragmatic.
Well, and we've already got a
solution.
program set aside that we already use in the city for entries. Am I wrong? They already have badge entries at certain places, so the programming is already in place, so you just have to set the doors to do it.
Mm-hmm. I do think it's Councilman Van's concerns, I think, are legitimate. And, you know, some folks can say he's crazy, but if an incident happens, you know, he's going to be right, and he's going to be sad that he was. Yeah. So it's a worthy endeavor, and looking into it, maybe we can't find a solution that'll work all the way around through the ability for somebody just can't walk into any door anytime and do this or that, and then kind of have a moderate security presence in the areas that aren't so protected.
Councilman Van, have you had any conversations, because this is the first, other than on the agenda, that I've seen it, and you've had a lot of thought into this. Have you talked about like income sources or anything like that with anybody yet? Or because I mean, it's a great plan that we need to have things in place, but we need to have a place to finance this.
Well, I hadn't thought about that. What I was thinking about, I know we probably already done paid them. Is that OML that we waste $30,000 a year for? Which, to me, that's a waste of money. But like I said, that's another thing. Okay, the foundation, for example. I listened to the city manager, intern city manager, Mr. Tucker, last time at Public Works. He said they don't finance things like this. They only finance economic development. You know, it's a crying shame we got a city foundation that can't finance our safety. They can't finance our safety, but they can finance everything else. To me, this is I'm telling you, this is very, very important. It's more important than y'all ever realize. Okay, I listen to Councilman McHale here, and I respect Councilman McHale. But Councilman McHale, we do have a keyless entry that we can come up to City Hall, and I didn't want one when I came to City Councilman. And that's right there on the side. Employees come in that thing every day. Like I say, but if somebody's downstairs right now with a bomb, they're going out the same way. We may come in with the badge touching it, but the people up here is going in the same way. We just have too much freedom roaming around these halls in the middle of the day. And Councilman Johnson, I respect what you said. You know, we need to look at everybody, and that's a fact. I agree with you totally. But the first step is right here at City Hall itself, and then we can move on somewhere else. And then also over there where the code enforcement is going to be, or over there inspections, where the fire department is. That's another bad place. Also, here in the city of Muskogee, you have the courthouse. They got security. The library has security. The VA right next to us has security. The Social Security office has security. We can't walk up in there and say, hey, I want to talk to somebody. These people are there for a reason. They are there for our safety when we go in there. And they also have a metal detector. It's been years ago, Councilman Ritchie, I don't know if you remember this or not, but I've been coming to council ever since 2005. And if you go over to the teen center and look at that metal detector they have, trust me, I fought and fought and fought for that. And we got it over there. Well, those kids go in there, they ain't gonna be carrying no guns. They going across that metal detector first. In case y'all didn't know, yes, I worked on that project right there at the teen center. So y'all welcome to go over there tomorrow and look at it. But like I say, you know, you can do what you want tonight, but I'm just saying, I hope and pray that nothing like this happens up here. But you have been told, because money, we should be striving to get that money somewhere for somehow on something this important. Putting a sign that says Big Muskogee ain't near as important as this. I'll yield the floor back to you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else got a comment on this item? Direction to staff, motion?
I guess for me is how can we get with our police department who does active trainers and kind of advise us as to how we secure public works. I mean, they get probably 70% of the complaints, parks and recs, how we can secure all of our offices at that point in time. Because we have 480 employees, and I don't know how many are in this particular office, but we still have quite a few people. I'd like to see, I've gone through their active training program, and it's just wonderful, but I'd kind of like to see if their staff, through their research, could put together a little bit of a program on how to move forward with this. That was the direction I would like to give. Is
So that's somewhat a combination of what Mr. Johnson is thinking too, I think.
I just think we have more than just this particular staff at the end of the day.
Well, and I'd like to lead on to that is that it be a more comprehensive program, that we include police, fire, EMS. We have a disaster plan in the Muskogee Public School System, and it involves all those criteria, and we need that for our personnel. And you're looking at every room, emergency exits, everything related to it. It's involving all safety and for our staff, and I think, you know, that needs to be looked into.
And there's emergency management. There's an emergency policy that we have that maybe just needs to be reviewed and updated.
And then we take a step here and a step there, and it's going to involve budget, and we're not going to get there in a short period of time. But we define our weaknesses, and we put them in place in a budget process and in a capital improvement process, and we start moving. And that's what we do.
May I be recognized again one more time?
You said you were going to yield the floor. You're going to change your mind now.
Mr. Tucker, that $30,000 has already been paid to OML, hasn't it?
I'd have to check. I'm not sure that it has.
I don't
We
know
just started
that you
there.
can mix those two conversations up.
No.
I mean, it's a budget.
It was budget. I mean,
It's budgeted.
It was budgeted.
It's budget money. You know. Oh, another thing is, up here, I'm sitting here in the daytime. Say for instance, I'm Attorney Beast over there. I'm the city attorney. I'm gonna get hired now as Attorney Beast. I'm gonna get your check. I'm gonna be in my office. Somebody come through the door with an automatic weapon. All the other people, first, second, third. What am I gonna do? Don't have no panic button. We need panic buttons. That's another simple process we can do up here. Because we gotta do is reach under your desk and say something's going on. Do we have panic buttons to every department here in the city hall? Do we?
They're not to every department, no.
Well, they need to be. Is that a simple I mean, even that. Alarm go off or something. We need, and I know that shouldn't cost a lot of money. To get a button that gets, whoa, a lot of noise. Somebody's going to wake up. They're going to get to moving. But that, you know, it's things like this that we don't know. And we're sitting right up here as councilmen. But we don't, because we don't check. That's one thing about me. I try to do my homework the best I can do because I know I got to go before y'all. I'll yield the floor back to you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments?
I would say that Councilman Gully and Councilman Johnson are on the right track, and that we probably ought to take a look at everything and see what we can come up with, see what the suggestions are and our shortfalls are, and then hit at them one at a time. I think through the use of secure doors and secure departments or whatever, in just about every department, every site that we have, there may be one or two people that could take a brunt of an attack, but everybody else could be protected and cordoned off through secure doors or what have you. It's not really nice to say, but that's a fact. And I think it'd be nice to see where we are and what we need to do, and then go from there. and then work to put it as a budget item and develop it and grow it.
Is that in form of a motion?
That would be a
Have it
motion.
in form of a motion?
I make the motion that we get advice from our,
I heard threat assessment,
yes,
okay, for all city facilities.
yes,
Then you come up with a plan along with cost estimates for a phase-in program.
yes, sir.
Second.
We have a timeline on this?
We have not stated the timeline.
I don't know how long a threat assessment will last. Chief, how long would it take? Can PD do a threat assessment for us, or?
We can. It will take a while, maybe a couple of weeks, but we can get it done for you.
Okay. Why don't we just have where I'll report something back to you within 30 days?
Can I make a motion also?
Well, we've already got a motion we need to deal with unless you're going to add to the motion that exists.
Okay, I'll add to the motion that exists.
Okay, Mr. Beasy, would you want to give us some direction on how that happens?
We would need to do a substitute motion, so.
I'll make a motion that we look into financing this by a security company, and also look into that $30,000 that we pay OML to see if we can use that money instead of having to give them $30,000 for nothing.
No, we can't do that because that's not an
That would be
agenda item.
appropriate motion.
We could put another agenda item on for next time to talk about OML, if that's what you want.
Okay, we can do that. Like I said, we need to get rid of that $30,000 wasted money.
So are you withdrawing? The issue here is you would need if you're doing a substitute motion, the OML issue wouldn't be available for part of your motion, but.
Okay, I'll withdraw it. Let me ask this question then. How about the foundation? So it's who makes the rules on that, Mr. Tucker? Or is we can't get money over there for something like this?
Well, the board does when they set aside the grant cycle. And it's not true that they only fund economic development.
Okay.
They only fund economic development out of cycle. Within cycle, which are the grants that we accepted last week, they'll fund anything that improves the quality of life, enhances education,
Health and
wellness.
But they can't insure anything that secures our safety.
Well, they've just given
might
us
be that they can.
$1,623,986 in grants.
That's in grants. I'm talking about safety. We're talking about safety here.
Well, you know, you're talking about a grant for safety.
Yeah, grant for safety.
We didn't make an application this year for it.
Well-
Because that would have been due back in February.
Well, we went and got flowers from Honor Heights out of cycle grants. I'm sure we can go. I mean, yeah, we have. Remember, I think we got some flowers and done some work at Honor Heights on our
Suggesting that
cycle.
we go to the City of Muskogee Foundation
And
and
see,
ask for a grant.
and ask for a grant for our safety up here.
Okay, then we could direct staff to do that.
You know, because we have done this. I know we have. I remember.
It would be good if we did our due diligence first and presented them with facts and a plan and the need.
Councilman Kell, the facts is that we don't want to get blowed up or shot up here, and we don't want that to happen and have to go to them and then say, yeah, we got that, and you blowed up
Chairman,
now.
I ask that we cease discussion on this item.
All
Got
right,
a
sir.
motion and a second on the floor.
We've got a motion and a second. Is there any other comment, discussion?
Make sure I know what
Vote.
this motion is going to be. Read it.
All right, sir.
Give me
You
just a
wanna
second to
restate the
write it.
motion?
All right. I want to make sure I got this
There were a
motion in
lot of
my
things
mind.
going on. I'm trying to keep up.
Boy, what you do for the safety of the citizens, of our employees. Wow.
I have a motion to secure a threat assessment for all city facilities and to direct staff to investigate the cost of securing those in accordance with the plan and recommending a phase-in program for adoption or for implementation, rather.
Yes, sir.
I missed one.
Is that the motion?
I missed
It
one.
is indeed.
Okay.
I missed on what we said about the foundation. If
That wasn't part
That
of.
was not part of the
Wasn't part of his
motion.
motion.
it's not part of the motion, can't be part of the motion?
You'll have to ask Mr. Kale if it would be part of his motion, because then he'd need to
I mean,
amend
if
his
they,
motion.
Mr. Kell, Councilman Kell, if this foundation will give us money for this, would you be against that?
I would add to the motion that we seek out the foundation to see if we could make an application under health and wellness or whatever purview that this might fall under to see if we could get some assistance.
And it don't need to be, it needs to be out of cycle, not in cycle, because we need this thing done.
Mr. Van, you want to continue to tailor the motion for him, or you want him to make the motion?
And I was just asking Councilman McHale what I'm thinking.
Already asked to vote on it over here, so let's either get the motion together or let's go to something else.
Okay, let's make sure we got this motion together before we move on, okay?
That's what we were trying to do before you started amending it again.
No, I wasn't amending. I brought this up just a while ago, Mayor, about the foundation.
I would probably say something in the terms of seek funding sources. Because if you specify it to foundation, then you're only going to come up with foundation sources. And what if you get a no?
Okay.
So you might want to say seek funding sources.
We'll seek funding sources then. Spend $1.3 million on a building.
Chairman, I ask that we stop discussion on this item. We've got a motion and a second on the floor.
We have a motion and we have a second, and we have restated the motion. Do we need any clarification on the motion?
Yes, sir. We need to read that motion all the way now, since Mr. Kelly.
All right, sir. If you'd read it one time, we'll be ready to vote.
The motion is to secure a threat assessment for all city facilities, include a cost estimate, as well as a phase-in program for implementation, as well as seek funding sources.
Mr. Kale, is that your motion?
It is indeed.
All right, we got a second.
Second.
I have a second, please, sir.
Okay, we got a second.
I'll amend my second.
Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Hale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes. Where does that leave us? Item
Great.
number 8. Item number 8.
Consider approval of a resolution authorizing a partnership agreement between the City of Muskogee, Desire to Change, and the Gospel Rescue Mission for implementation of a pilot program called Getting to Work for fiscal year 2016-2017, and authorizing the city manager or designee to execute the agreement or take other necessary action.
Mr. Tucker.
Mayor, members of the council, Reverend Coleman has this item be, no action be taken on that since he's not here to speak on it. So as a result, I'd ask that no action be taken. I'll coordinate a time with Reverend Coleman for his speech on this, as well as coordinate with the Gospel Rescue Mission and the folks from Desire to Change.
Strike number 8. Go to item number 9, please.
Consider approval to trade in 62 outdated tasers and purchase 13 additional tasers to outfit a total of 75 officers in the amount of $92,147.09, or take other necessary action.
Chief.
Mr. Mayor, Council, what we're asking to do is to take advantage of a trade-in program that ends on July the 15th, so we couldn't comply with all the other issues in order to meet this deadline. But essentially what we're trying to do is to cut about $9,500 off the cost. We're wanting to trade in our current tasers, which are no longer being manufactured. They're aging to the point that we can't get replacement parts once one of these breaks down, or if we do, it's going to be substantial to the point that it would be cheaper to buy a new one than to replace those parts. So what we're trying to do is take advantage of this trade-in program, which ends on July the 15th, and we're requesting about $92,147 to purchase these out of our capital outlay grant, or funds, I'm sorry.
All right, sir. Other comments or questions?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Comments or questions further? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Hale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir. There are no citizens that have signed up to speak
Mayor,
this evening.
may I be recognized? Is the motion I need to make to be recognized? I didn't get to sign up.
You can do the same. It'd have to be a
Motion to
suspend the rules, because that's
May I
per
make a
item.
motion to suspend the rules?
You can make a motion about anything you want.
I want to make a motion to suspend the rules to get 3 minutes. It won't take me that long.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
No.
Janie Boydston.
No.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
No.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
No.
Mayor Coburn.
No. Motion fails. Item number 10A.
Consider an executive session to discuss and take possible action on the following. Pursuant to Section 307B4, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss the workers' compensation claim of Johnny Williams and, if necessary, take appropriate action in open session.
We will entertain a motion regarding executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries, and we will consider ourselves in executive session. If you would please excuse us by exiting the council chamber. We will now reconvene from executive session. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bob Coburn.
Here.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Present.
Janie Boydston.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Patrick Kale.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
We're accounted for again. Item 10A, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Pursuant to Section 307B4, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, council did convene an executive session to discuss the workers' compensation claim of Johnny Williams. And after being fully briefed, I believe a motion is appropriate authorizing settlement in the amount of $15,000.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comment or discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries, and that completes our agenda for today. Thank you for joining us.